Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Grand Traverse, where all are truly welcome, all of every background, identity, and age. We especially extend our loving welcome to families with young children. One of the things that we love about children is their natural curiosity. It brings home to us the miracle of seeing things anew through their eyes, and of how they learn at what seems like warp speed. As spiritual people, we adults also practice the art of staying curious. It is part of our commitment to lifelong learning. We stay curious and open, even when others don't quite meet our expectations. Children often don't meet our expectations. They are a series of surprises, often exceeding those expectations. So let us anticipate that as a community living our values of inclusion and welcome, we can expect and look forward to joyful interruptions from our little ones. I'm Susan Smith, coordinator of this service and a member of the Sunday Services Committee. On the back of our order of service, you will note our land acknowledgement, a request to silence electronic devices, and a notice about the book at the front of our sanctuary in which you can record your joys and concerns and/or light a candle of commemoration as you prefer. Please feel free to do so as we are getting started. Carl Kyneth from the Congregational Care Team will read what you choose to share a little later in this service. That sharing allows us to stay connected to one another in the milestones and moments of our lives. Here at UUCGT, we are a pluralistic congregation, which means not only that we are different from one another in many ways, but we embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Accordingly, we enthusiastically embrace your differences and welcome you just as you are to our beloved community. If you are new to our congregation or haven't been here for a while and are willing and able, you may stand to introduce yourself. Chris will bring a microphone which will enable even those streaming from home to hear your introduction. However, please feel free to remain seated and silent if you prefer. Is there anyone who would like to introduce themselves today?
Hello, my name is Carrie Miles, and this is my daughter, Katie Miles. We haven't been for a long time, and she just wanted to come today. So thanks for having us.
Welcome, Carrie and Katie, and thanks for being back.
Good morning. My name is Laura. I'm here with my wife, Michelle, and we have been wanting to come for years, but with our current political administration, the fact that we're two married women and a teacher and a scientist, we're just feeling like we'd like to develop some more community here. So, thank you.
Welcome to you both. We're glad you're here, even if it did take years. In the back to the left.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, my name is Heidi Browning. I grew up in Traverse City, but I live in Grand Rapids now. And my family, I have my son Russell and my son Forrest, and we're members of the All Souls Church, UU Church in Grand Rapids. So we're just visiting for the day.
Thank you for joining us for this Sunday. Anyone else? No, it looks like we're ready. For our social hour following services, we have designated yellow mugs for those we haven't met previously or seen lately. This will enable us to identify you, introduce ourselves, and welcome you personally to our beloved community. Now, I have a minor confession to make to all of you. I want to tell you of an uncharitable thought that I sometimes have. When my husband sleeps in, instead of bounding out of bed, as I typically do early in the morning, I've been known to harbor some judgmental thoughts, thinking how much he could accomplish if he would just get up earlier. Today, the reading Reverend Jensen has selected to help us understand why observing the Sabbath is necessary provides us a new way to think about resting, napping, and sleeping in. Let us now turn to our centering music performed by Julie Govitz. By the way, good morning, Julie. I hadn't had time to greet you yet.
Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I invite you to hear these words from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel from his well-known book, The Sabbath, written back in 1951. He writes, "Shabbat comes with its own holiness. We enter not simply a day, but an atmosphere. We are within the Sabbath rather than the Sabbath being within us. The question is how to perceive that holiness, not how much to observe, but how to observe. Strict adherence to the laws regulating Sabbath observance doesn't suffice. The goal is creating the Sabbath as a foretaste of paradise. The Sabbath is a metaphor for paradise. Unless one learns how to relish the taste of the Sabbath, one will be unable to enjoy the taste of eternity in the world to come. The task becomes how to convert time into eternity, how to fill our time with spirit. 6 days a week, we wrestle with the world wringing profit from the earth. On the Sabbath, we especially care for the seed of eternity planted within the soul. The world has our hands, but our soul belongs to something else.
It is our practice to join other UU congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. We invite those at home to light your own chalice, perhaps a simple candle. As we light the chalice, let us join together in reading our covenant words found on the back of your order of service. I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. In community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome all as we respond to the needs of the world. And now we sound the singing bowl to enter this time of stillness.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn this morning, number 391, found in our gray hymnal.
Good morning. Any of our young folks want to come up to the carpet? You might want to sit on the floor today because today is a book day. Good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? Good, it's good to see you. And scooch. All right, I have a question. How many of you have ever been bored before? That is really a question. I'm just curious. Do you like being bored? Yes, some said yes. Some do not like being bored. Grown-ups, how do you feel about being bored? We don't love it. We don't love being bored. I don't know, sometimes I like being bored. I know, side eye, big side eye. You've been bored one time? Just one time? Lucky you. You got a busy life if you've only been bored one time.
I have been bored also one time.
More than one time? Lots of times. I've been bored so many times. Well, our book this morning is about being bored and why being bored is sometimes a good thing. Weird, right? I don't know. I don't know about all that. Let's find out. So this is a kid's book about boredom by Kyle Steed. This is an intro for the grown-ups. That's not on the screen. I'm bored already and haven't even written anything. Do you ever feel this way too? What do you do with that feeling of boredom? Do you look for ways to feel better and distract yourself? I know, I get it. I do sometimes too. But what are we doing when we prioritize our distractions instead of leaning into the void? The space boredom makes for us is an amazing chance to be creative, to dream, to draw, to dance. There are no rules to being bored. There is you, me, and our imaginations. Go ahead, I dare you to be bored more. All right, this part's for the kids and for the grown-ups. Have you ever felt bored? Have you ever felt like there's just nothing to do? Or like you're missing out on something? Have you ever felt like you should be doing something, anything, but you don't know what that something is? Are you bored right now reading this book? Well, guess what? That's okay. Everyone gets bored. But being bored can be a really good thing, a wonderful thing, actually. I know that might sound a little weird, but just stay with me for a second. I promise it'll all make sense. My name is Kyle Steed. That's not my name, that's the name of the author of this book. And I get bored just like you. When I was a kid, I was bored all the time, but I didn't know that being bored could be a good thing. So a lot of the time, I felt really bad or guilty about being bored and not knowing what to do. You're not bored, you're making silly sounds. It took me a long time to learn to embrace boredom, but when I finally did, I realized it was kind of like a superpower. Did you know being bored could be a superpower? My story as an artist emerges from being bored. I paint and make images of all sizes and shapes, from large murals on the sides of buildings to small works on canvas in my studio. We have lots of large murals around town. Have you guys seen them? Yeah, me too. As an artist, I get bored so easily. Some of you are artists. Do you get bored? Yeah. But I rely on being bored to create. What? You might be thinking, but it's true. You're silly. All right, listen. When I'm bored, I don't set out to draw a specific thing. I just create for the sake of creating. I figure it out as I go. I don't think about making something that's perfect or even good. Do you ever worry about your art not being good enough? I've definitely worried about that before, but sometimes it doesn't have to be good. Sometimes it can just be. I put pencil to paper and see what comes out. I figured out that most of the time this happens when I have nothing to do and don't force myself to do something. To tell you the truth, being bored makes me a better artist. I know that can be hard to believe because when you're bored, it feels like it's impossible to do anything at all. Well, I'm here to tell you, you actually don't have to do anything at all. Doing nothing can be the most beautiful and powerful thing in life. So, be bored. Make time to be bored. make a sign for your door that says, please do not disturb, I am bored. And see what happens. You're gonna make a sign? Let's do it. Maybe we'll make those in Sunday school today. Lie down on the floor with your eyes closed. All right, do we have space? Can we practice lying down? Or we can just sit with our eyes closed. No, don't go to sleep. And just think or feel or do nothing at all. That's a good practice. Or watch the clouds. We can't watch clouds in here, but we can pretend. And see what shapes they make when you listen to the birds. All right, no snoring. You can't, it's hard to do nothing. Or pay attention to how the wind feels against your skin and your hair and nothing else. Sounds boring, right? Good. All right, listen. No more snoring. Wake up. Being bored is your you time. Your time to explore what you think and what you feel and what you love. All right, we're losing the plot, friends. Whatever that may be, let your imagination guide you. Let your mind wander. You could. All right, here's some suggestions. Let's try these things. Make up a noise. Hey, we're already really good at that. And imagine what it would sound like if it were yelled by your toaster. Then dress up in clothes that don't fit you and pretend you're starting your own civilization in your lunchbox. But the yogurt has gotten kind of smelly. You've got this. You could create a song on the spot about a silly way to remember your math facts. Have any of you ever done that before? No. Some of us have. You could, oh, this is one I bet some of you have done before. Take all your sheets, blankets, and pillows off your bed and stack them like warm pancakes in the middle of your room and pretend you're a giant having breakfast. Or just build a fort. You'll bury yourself in blankets. You could go out and look for bugs and document their entire family tree and where they came from. There you go. You could do that. You could draw a picture. Do you like to draw pictures? You're going to fall asleep? Okay. Draw a picture of something that's not anything, but not with a pencil, and definitely not on a piece of paper. You could start a podcast about the things that you find hiding in the back of your closet. Literally anything. Or nothing. Not everything you do or make needs to have a purpose. Get in touch with yourself and do what comes naturally. Don't overthink it. Making mistakes is part of the journey. Trust yourself and know that it's okay if you don't make the right choice right away. No one has to see it unless you want to show it to them. This is for you first. What happens after that is up to you. So please, go ahead. Be bored and make mistakes. You're welcome. To be bored anytime. All right, my friends, should we sing our song? Let's sing our song. And let's get bored.
We are children of the stars, we are children of the earth, we are spinners and weavers in this web of life, and the joy that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being. We are children of tomorrow, we are children of our dreams, we are planners and builders in this web of life, and the future that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being.
those exuberant sounds, right? We've come to the time in our service where we give freely of our own resources to sustain our congregation, our building, our staff, and our programming. In addition, our stewardship allows us to reach out to those who are the most marginalized and vulnerable among us. And most recently, the board has decided to earmark a portion of those donations for social justice work. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our offerings truly reflect our commitment to our UU shared values. If you are watching at home, you may choose any of the ways described in the slide to make your donations. Mail a check, visit the UUCGT website, download the Venco mobile faith engagement app, or prearrange with your bank for a monthly transfer into the UUCGT account. And now, let us enjoy our meditation music and offertory performed by Julie Gobbets, My Peace.
I'm Carl Kyneth, a member of the Congregational Care Team. It is our practice as a religious community to set aside time in our service to name and honor the joys and concerns that mark our lives, the milestones and moments of our lived experience. I will be sharing the joys and concerns that have been offered up for us to hold in our hearts today. If you have a joy or concern that's a bit too heavy to share, I invite you to reach out to Reverend Alex or to any member of the Congregational Care Team. If your joy or concern is still raw and tender, we invite you to hold it in your heart as you are held in this loving community. None of us is meant to travel life's journey alone. And now, here is what has been shared with the gathered community today. Susan Smith writes, "The world lost an amazing leader on Easter Monday when Pope Francis died. The poor, marginalized, oppressed of the world had, for almost 13 years, enjoyed his voice of support. The world is less without him." Lauren Kyneth writes, "What a joy to see so many flowers, especially daffodils, on our way in this morning." And this next one is anonymous. "A candle for the well-lived," I'll start over. "A candle for a life well-lived. My dear friend Mark Chambers, who lived his entire life on Mackinac Island, passed away on Easter Sunday from early onset Alzheimer's. He died with his cat on his belly and his dog at his feet. surrounded by 5 of his 6 children. From Reverend Alex, a joy to mentor 14 scouts yesterday morning as a merit badge counselor for citizenship in society, Scouting's DEI merit badge. Gives me hope for our future leaders that their values are still being shared. And now let's hold a moment of stillness for the concerns and joys that remain in the silence and on our hearts.
Please join me in slowing down as we reflect on these words by Reverend Manish Mishra Marsetti. In the midst of running from my problems, from myself, from one necessary task to the next, I listen to that impulse within me, the one that reminds me that I could keep running blindly my whole life. Days and months speeding into years, losing all perspective. I'm reminded that learning how to rest and abide in you is part of how I learn to rest and abide in me. I need you, source of all creation, as deeply as I need myself, as deeply as I long for comfort, reassurance, guidance, and trust. Your presence feels so distant, too distant at times when I'm living life as if it's a marathon waiting to be won. Help me instead recall that slowing down can be just as important. Perhaps at times more important than speeding to get things done. Help me remember, beloved, that the longings of my heart are never satisfied by the sprint, but rather by the slow, languid meander. Help me remember that my weary spirit may be weary because of all of my running. I can choose to slow down. Help me make that choice, and go with me as I make that choice. Amen. Let us now join in singing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Tricia Hersey. Hersey, also known as the Nap Bishop, calls us to reclaim rest as a form of resistance against the grind culture of capitalism. She writes, "What has been repeated to me over and over again by people is, I wish I could rest, but I just don't know how to nap. It feels impossible." Consistently, for 6 years, this has been the mantra shared with me by thousands. It's firm evidence that we as a culture don't have clarity about what rest can be. We are born knowing how to rest and listen to what our bodies need. It's second nature and an inner knowing that is slowly stolen from us as we replace it with disconnections. We have been bamboozled by a culture without a pause button. We must rest. Everything we know about rest has been tainted by the brainwashing from a white supremacist capitalist system. As a culture, we don't know how to rest. We believe rest is a luxury, a privilege, an extra treat we can give to ourselves after suffering from exhaustion and sleep deprivation. We are not resting because we are still connecting to our rest in a capitalistic, trendy, consumer-given way, the way we have been trained under capitalistic system. Our work is not about a one-day-only event where leaving your homes is necessary to rest in a fancy retreat center or hotel. This work is about a slow unraveling that will require our participation for our entire lives. It is a culture shift rooted in an embodiment lens. This means that we must actively practice, engage, and push back against the dominant culture. We must snatch and integrate rest in the quiet, loud, mundane, and full moments of our lives daily. We must remain committed to building community and going into the deepest cracks to gather and care for anyone left behind. Treating each other and ourselves with care isn't a luxury, but an absolute necessity if we're going to thrive. Resting isn't an afterthought, but a basic part of being human. And if you'll bear with me just a moment. My sign language didn't work earlier. I was hoping Alex would pass it to me along the way, but he did, so I'm all set. After this reading, I have a new lens through which to see my husband's choice of taking deliberate additional rest at the beginning of his day. As I begin my day of work, his choice as a contrarian is one of resistance to the holy grail of productivity in a capitalistic system that we live in. Please, dear friends, think deeply about how that system, with its emphasis on productivity, shapes how we interpret what we experience and even what we allow ourselves to experience.
When was the last time that you felt truly rested? Not just caught up on sleep or being done with your to-do lists, but truly feeling rested. With time seeming to stop, finding yourself at peace, feeling whole. We live in a world that tries its best to keep us from resting. We absorb messages that are all around us, that are even instilled within us from an early age, about how active or how productive we need to be. How to be anything less is to be lazy or wasteful with our time. Common phrases like, time is money, no pain, no gain, or I'll sleep when I'm dead. How many of us have ever heard or even used a phrase like that? Our workist capitalist culture tells us that pausing to rest is to fall behind. It's to leave money and time on the table. Our own inner voices keep us active at all times, keeping us from sinking into that time for rest as we hustle onward to prepare for the next thing. That putting our feet up and letting go of our responsibilities is something that actually doesn't serve us. Even the immense guilt that we can feel when we're not trying to fill every possible second of every day with something of use, something profitable or worthy of our time and attention. So today we're going to explore a countercultural practice to this society's hustle culture, the practice of observing the Sabbath and making time for rest. Sabbath-keeping and sabbath-taking are things that have grown out of Jewish theology and cosmology. While observing the Sabbath originated in Judaism, it's a practice that can be applied for everyone. So don't worry if you're not Jewish. The Sabbath, or Shabbat in Hebrew, has roots in the Jewish scriptures from the book of Genesis as the underlying pattern of creation. I'm going to test a little bit of your knowledge here. I think we're going to do pretty okay. According to the story, in how many days was the world created? Go ahead and shout it out. 6. And on which day is it that we are told that God rested? The 7th. We know the story. So the metaphor of God creating the world in 6 days and resting on the 7th is the foundational pattern to Sabbath-taking. Work and creativity pouring out for 6 whole days, with the final day to rest, recharge, and turn inward. This necessity for a day of rest is not because of exhaustion just by itself. It's to set time apart for sacredness, for what we might even call holy time. Time to take a break from our need to create and produce, to find ourselves in a span of new time that allows us to glimpse eternity. But Sabbath-taking in the Jewish sense is not just a pattern of creating and recreating, a time of being productive and then returning to a state of rest afterward. It's also a duty, an obligation. It's actually one of the 10 commandments, to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, a command given to the ancient Israelites right after the Exodus in Egypt. Keeping the Sabbath is an obligation. It's the law that's not just about rest, but liberation as well. Living free from the need to do, produce, or create, and to instead just be as you are. My hope is that following today, each of you will feel inspired and encouraged to observe the Sabbath, to find time for creativity and sacred rest apart from your full, busy, and productive lives. Observing the Sabbath is more than just catching up on rest. It's how we nourish and water that seed of eternity planted inside each of us, so that we don't allow this full, wondrous, and vibrant life of ours to pass us by. Sabbath-keeping is also how we push hard against the oppressive powers and forces of late-stage capitalism, how we push hard against colonialism and empire so that all of us can reclaim a slice of the eternal, the holy, for ourselves, no matter who we are or how we are born into this world. So let's dive on in and explore Sabbath taking from 3 key lenses. The first of these lenses is the lens of the Sabbath as an atmosphere we experience and inhabit. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, from our opening words, one of the great Jewish theologians and mystics of the 20th century, viewed the Sabbath as a cathedral in time. Have you heard that before? Well, in this view, it's easy for us to search for eternity in physical places, in buildings, accomplishments, or even in things, items. We might search for the Sabbath in temples and churches, in attaining that high honor or award, or even in that new, nice, shiny thing of ours that we've just acquired that'll help make our life all better. The truth is, searching for eternity in these places falls short of the whole, the deeper experience we get when we lean into sacred time. This cathedral in time is a place that can actually never be defiled or destroyed. It's a place we can always return to, our very own holiest of holies, in the midst of our full lives, moving us back into connection with one another and with ourselves as well. It's important to mention that this cathedral in time is not just for rest. It's also for experiencing joy. Like our Soul Matters theme for this month, the theme of joy, this cathedral is a space and time in which we can find ourselves in a different rhythm, to give room for our spirit and celebrate this present moment. It's a shift in our attention from the things of the world into a world of creativity, joy, and life. So from this lens, we learn that the Sabbath doesn't exist in one place between 4 different walls. Instead, it's something that we can experience anywhere. So the first thing you need to know about Sabbath keeping is that it isn't something you need to look for or cultivate in just one place. The Sabbath is far more expansive, existing outside of any physical space, but embedded within time itself. That's the first big lens, the Sabbath as a cathedral in time. The second lens for us to explore is how the Sabbath is time for us to bloom, to go beyond the fears and anxieties that keep our attention elsewhere instead of within this very present moment. In Martha Beck's recent book, Beyond Anxiety, Beck, a Harvard-trained sociologist, highlights how creativity itself is the opposite of anxiety. While anxiety pulls us away from the world, creativity pulls us in. While anxiety separates us and walls us off, creativity brings us back into connection with our whole selves. I think back to that metaphor of the 6 days of creation, how the character of God, who we might understand as this creative artist, creates and creates and creates for 6 whole days, following which the artist rests to do it all again. You see, part of making space for creativity is actually in taking space from it sometimes. Intentionally taking space to even get a bit bored, to not know what you're going to do with yourself. While it might seem counterintuitive, it's actually based in science with how we as human beings work. We need Sabbath to have space to experience both creativity and rest, to experience new ways of being and creating beyond deadlines and agendas, beyond every single measured minute. We can't just produce and create all the time. We sometimes need to get bored. And it's in the boredom that creativity is allowed the room to breathe, to bloom. Making time for stillness is one way we can sink into creativity over and over again. And so that's the second lens. Creativity is the opposite of anxiety. And sometimes we just need to get a little bit bored. The last lens I want to explore with you is the lens of Sabbath as resistance. Observing the Sabbath is something that is personal and spiritual, but it's also deeply political. It's time for stopping ourselves to declare that there is enough right here and now, that we ourselves have done enough, that we are more even than what we do. Imagine for a moment how different things would be if we truly believed in abundance over scarcity. How would we navigate life, our connections, if we truly believed that we were enough? That there was enough for each of us, so much so that we could lean out of work and lean back into our sacred selves. From our reading this morning that Susan read by Tricia Hersey, it's important to highlight how rest isn't a luxury. The Sabbath is actually a resistance tool, especially for those who are oppressed. In this day and age, people are treated like machines, measured in the value of what we make and produce. In Hersey's lens, she reminds us that enslaved Africans who were brought to this country, whose very bodies were brutalized and commodified, those enslaved persons still found ways to rest. Resting in secret, in stolen moments, in fields and in kitchens, in quiet harbors and in their prayers in the night. Reclaiming the Sabbath for rest is a way of reclaiming our dignity and our own sacred humanity. It's a way of telling our culture that we are not machines. To live our lives like robots is an impossible task, though we all know we'll kill ourselves trying. Instead, Hersey tells us that rest is not something we have to earn. It's something we are all born deserving. The Sabbath, then, is not a reward after a long week of work. Instead, it's a shared way for us to resist this toxic culture together. It's a way for us to not let our spirits be dampened, or worse, taken from us. Rest belongs to all of us. Now, many of us might be feeling like the Sabbath isn't something we can actually do or make time for. Some of us might be feeling like time away from work is something that we just can't afford. How in this culture and society of ours, time for rest does come at an opportunity cost. The rent is still due. Bills still need to be paid. Sometimes we don't always have the chance to say no to our work or our wider responsibilities. But while we can't always lean away, it's also true that the Sabbath is an atmosphere we can find even then. If we're keen on collective liberation, the Sabbath is something we all need to lean into in our lives, a way of reducing suffering in our world, starting first with the suffering that we experience ourselves. We cannot collectively thrive if we all can't find ways to rest and experience eternity from time to time. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework this Sunday. I want you to try things out for yourself. See if you might find one day of the week that you're going to make your Sabbath. One day of the week where you'll enter into this cathedral in time and be free from productivity, obligations as much as possible. You might start out with Sundays as your Sabbath, if that's a rhythm that works for you, a time for you to rest, recharge, and say no to outside meetings and commitments. But just to be clear, you're not all free from missing Sunday services. Those are still required. Just saying, don't think you're off the hook. For me, my Sabbath is actually on Mondays, a day where I don't work and my entire atmosphere changes. A day where things are unstructured, where I minimize scheduled events and outside commitments, and I simply allow myself to slow down and even take the time that I need. Mondays are now my favorite day of the week. I bet you can imagine why. Having this Sabbath day allows me to return to myself and to actually know myself beyond what I do for work or all the things that are expected of me. If finding a whole day to set aside for Sabbath feels like too much, you might even start by designating a certain time of day as your Sabbath. For example, making time in the morning for journaling or meditation, or taking the time in the evenings as the sun sets to pause, slow down, or even read a book. The Sabbath isn't just something reserved for one day a week. We can actually practice pockets of Sabbath every day, even if just for an hour, to make time for rest. So to close, I remind you that the Sabbath isn't about doing things right. It's not about legalistic rules and precise ways to observe it. It's holy time that we learn how to observe, not how much to observe. As you begin this next full week, I hope that you can experience what it feels like to convert time into eternity, to find your time here on earth filled to the brim with Spirit. I hope for you that you find yourself regularly within the Sabbath, that even in the midst of a full and busy life, that you're not too busy to slow down, to rest a while, to simply just breathe. There's so much joy to be found in each and every moment of life. I pray that each of you takes care of that seed of eternity planted in your soul. May you water it with each breath and with each moment you take in holy time. Amen. Now let's practice some Sabbath taking for a moment of stillness together. I have a few announcements to share as we come to the end of our service. If any of you are interested in leading a summer service here at UUCGT, if you have an idea for something or some kind of ritual that you'd like to try out here, we still have a few dates available for you to come and lead a Sunday service. We have many capable Sunday service coordinators that can work with you on developing that, so you're not in it alone. Just an invitation that if any of you are curious about trying something out or bringing some kind of message or something here, you're welcome to do it, and we're looking for folks who might be interested. We also have a new online worship journal in a Google form in the Flash. Some of you might have noticed this. This is a chance for you to share your reflections on Sunday services. We're really interested in hearing what's moved you, what pieces of the service have really inspired you, and what are some things that we can maybe improve a little bit. So you can find a link to that also in our Flash. We're looking for some tech volunteers to assist with microphone and audio stuff for some services coming up, a couple of services where our tech director, Jeff, will need to be away. If this is something that sounds like you can assist with, we're looking for some volunteers to just help to do audio and tech. Jeff is able to mentor you in that, and we'll give you some chances to practice that as well. A note from Social Justice Action: please sign up for pizza, salad, and safety training on Friday, May 9th. Sign-up sheets are in the social hall. We can be ready to help keep peace in our community. You don't want to miss this. My microphone is really not cooperating today. And the last reminder that all of us, the space that we're creating, is an atmosphere of radical welcome and inclusion in our community. With lots of newer folks joining us on Sundays and throughout the weeks, you might not recognize every new person or face. So a reminder to stay curious and to assume good intentions. Let's not forget the hospitality and radical love that UUCGT is well known for in our community. So be a good, curious neighbor for one another. Let's now sing together.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1001, found in your teal hymnal. Dum da da dum dum with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the voice of the waters sobbed. Whoosh, whoosh, sobbed. Whoosh, whoosh.
You're invited to join hands with your neighbor if that's comfortable to you. We also invite the symbol of please do not touch me, your hands outstretched like this. We invite you, if you're not somebody that wants to be touched, this is a perfectly fine example of that. Those of you online are also welcome to outstretch your hands as well as we conclude.
Our words, as we release this flame, are entitled Be About the Work, and is by Andrea Hawkins Camper. May we see all as it is. May it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now, to be the barrier and the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, to be about the work of building the beloved community, to be a people of intention and a people of conscience.
And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, and in the spirit of the Sabbath, may we be made ready to serve one another and create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, pass a little squeeze or an Air 5, and happy Sunday.